Today we're going to finish putting together the scrapbook layout that I started yesterday with the sunflowers, and I already pre-cut everything that I talked about with my Cricut. So I talked about cutting the wreath element that was from the scrapbooking kit with my Cricut in brown. So I did that ahead of time, and then I also cut the sunflowers and formed those. I got this technique from Julie Carrier. She turns pieces of paper into works of art when it comes to flowers. In fact, her collab video from yesterday did almost the same technique with poinsettias, so be sure to go check out her video. In fact, check out all of the creative design team videos because we are all collaborating this week, turning a Christmas card as inspiration into a scrapbook layout. So everybody's videos are going to be linked in the description below, as well as the playlist at the end of this video. By the way, it's day 13 of my scrapbooking challenge, so if you missed any of my previous videos, I have those linked down below, and I'll talk more about this challenge at the end of the video. So without any further ado, let's get to my desk and finish putting this layout together. Okay, so here's approximately where we left off yesterday, except I cut this out of brown. And if you remember yesterday, I was playing with this piece that came from the Autumn Memories kit. It's very similar. I cut it at the same size, which is 9.5 inches, but this one actually came from Kelly Baxter Fitzgerald. She did a whole tutorial here on YouTube on how to create this scribble circle, and then she so kindly provided the file that we could use. So I just resized it and used it on my layout. And I'm thinking here, now that I'm looking at it, I want these either backed in a second mat of espresso, or this is early espresso, or maybe inked around the edges. Let me try a matte. All right, so here are my mats. I cut them at 3/16 of an inch bigger than my white mat. So that gives a little bit smaller mat than the typical 1/4 inch that I do. So I think I like that, and we'll be adding more color. Now, I talked about adding some background elements to here. That's what what I picked up from Janice's card that I'm copying that we looked at yesterday. So these are basically just the sunflowers, but I united them in Cricut Design Space so that it was just one flat image. I just cut a whole bunch in 3 different sizes, and I think that it will be more than enough to cover this background. And my plan is just to kind of fit them all, kind of like in little nooks and crannies like this. But I'm keeping this here. Let me take this background wreath off. I'm keeping these here because I don't need to put any of these behind here. So I'm just keeping those basically as a placeholder. My Cricut ate some of these littler ones. I had it on the wrong cut setting, so I still saved them because I can just have this part hang off the edge like that, and then I'll be trimming everything off so it just stays on the white. So I was going to add some fun interest to our background here, and we just need to kind of nestle things in between. I want to give enough space in between each flower so that we have plenty of room for, you know, turning things. If I get them too tight, then it's going to be hard to fit everything just right. So you want to have a nice little bit of space in there. So I'm just going to continue doing this for the whole background. Okay, so I filled the whole background. I think that looks really fun. So now what I'll do is I'm going to take these off, and then for each one, I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back and make sure I have it placed where I want it and place it down. Now notice I do have them hanging off. That makes it look more natural and organic. If you tried to fit everything within here, it's gonna look kind of awkward because, you know, patterned papers, all of the patterns go off the edge. We're essentially creating a dimensional patterned paper, the tone-on-tone textured paper. So make sure you go off the edge. And then I probably should have moved this green piece out of the way, but I don't want to now because it's going to move my pieces. But I want to be careful not to get any adhesive on that. So like for this one, I'm just going to have the adhesive like that. and then put it down like that. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, you can still totally do this. If you want to cut a wreath, you can use, maybe you have a cutting system like Creative Memories. You can create a few skinny circles like this and just layer them together. You can take dinner plates in 2 different sizes that are close, trace them, cut them out, and layer them up like this. And you can use just dies to create your background. It doesn't have to be Cricut cuts. I just used the Cricut cuts because I wanted them to match the sunflowers that I have, and I don't have sunflower dies. Now, there are plenty of flower dies out there that could resemble sunflowers, so you definitely could just cut a different die in yellow with a brown center to make it look like a sunflower, and that would totally work too. Okay, I'm going to put my Versamat on here just so there's a little more contrast. By the way, a lot of people ask about these Versamats. They are awesome. They've got foam on the back that's good for stamping, and I have not been able to find anything similar to this. There's Fiskars mats that I saw at Michael's, but they don't have the foam and they're thinner. But that is a possibility. I'm hoping that Stampin' Up! Might introduce these. I've put in suggestions. I know other people have, but as of now, they were from Close to My Heart and they're retired. So just want to point that out because I know a lot of you have wondered. I'm going to gut out the center of this paper. Now, you need this type of trimmer where you can just pull and stop as opposed to a guillotine. You can do it with a rotary trimmer, but it's a little harder to stop exactly where you need, but you definitely can do it. So I'm gonna go, I've got about a 3/4 inch, or no, I've got a 1/2 inch mat. So I'm gonna go about 1 inch, and that'll give me another 1/2 inch for adhesive. And I'll just go from the 1 to the 11 on all sides, just like this, and I'll do the rest off camera. All right, so see how much we saved? It's about a 10 by 10 inch piece now that we can use for something else. Now I'm gonna put just a little bit of adhesive because I wanna keep this frame steady on my mat. Otherwise it's a little hard to line everything up. And then I'm gonna take this piece and I'm going to put adhesive around the edge. All right, so I want to put this down so that this blank spot where the photos are going to be is in the right spot. Do you see how my frayed piece here I have sticking under the photos there? Looks really, really cool. I love the way that that looks. All right, so I know that I need a 1/2 inch on each side, so I'll line it up at the 1/2 inch from the top and the side, and get that as close as possible. All right, so let's get our wreath down and our photos. And then off screen, I cut a bunch of dies or die cuts from this leaf right here. This is from one of Close to My Heart's layered flowers die set, I believe it is. And I just cut like a 1 inch strip of the pattern paper that was left from in here. And then the old olive cardstock, and I just cut the light side and the dark side. So we have a variation of leaves. And then I think I even want to do just a little bit of inking. So I've got my little silicone mat here. I always forget about this thing, but it's such a nice handy size. And my old olive ink. And then I want to just go really lightly just to add a little bit, just a little bit of definition. So I did the same thing on the flowers. I added some yellow ink kind of going up the petals in the same manner, starting at the center of the flower and going up. And so I want to just kind of do that just lightly on the leaves, and it's going to dry back a little bit lighter too, but just to give that extra little bit of interest. So I'm going to do that to all of these leaves, and then we'll have all of our embellishments prepared. I like to prepare all of my flowers and leaves and any embellishments that I'm going to use before I actually put my layout together so that I don't have to stop and do that. Okay, so I've got everything prepared. I did the same inking on these leaves. Now remember from yesterday, these were from that scrapbook kit. And then I was trying to find a title for my page. And how perfect is this? Enjoying the last days of summer, which is exactly what this was, because this was just taken last week. So I am thinking that that might be kind of tucked right here, because I'm going to have my flowers down here. So let's start doing that. This largest one, I think I want that about right here, and then I'll build out. So maybe have this one here, and this one up here, and then a smaller one. I might actually, let's see if 2 looks good. Can always take them away. And then they're going to be filled in with leaves too. And then if I put one up here, now I want a visual triangle. So if I put these kind of along the wreath like this, they look a little small, but I think when we fill them out with leaves, it'll be okay. I'm thinking that this one here kind of serves as that third point. So let's try adding leaves, see what happens. I only have 3 of these, so I want to kind of put those spread around the page. So have one up here under this larger flower, and then maybe under here. Might be able to kind of put it under both of these. And then this third one up under this flower. That's already helping a lot to fill this out. I think this is going to work. I like the odd number of 5 down here. Even though this isn't an odd number, I think it's okay. We're going to fill it out with the leaves. You're hardly going to notice. So let's start putting these leaves in. Leaves are some of my favorite embellishments to use because it's so easy to just tuck them here and there, and you don't have to just use them with flowers. In the Embellishing Made Easy video that I did earlier in this challenge, I used them on a school layout and there were no flowers, so it just goes to show how flexible leaves are. They really are the superpower scrapbooking embellishment. I'm actually liking this a lot. I think I want to move this down just a little bit. I already took the stick off the back with my anti-static powder. This little guy right here, I just dabbed it on the back of the sticker to take off the stickiness. That did not take a lot of time. That came together quite quickly. It really pays off to do all of your embellishments ahead of time. I'm not going to use these, but I just wanted to point out that there's some of these other little pieces from the scrapbooking kit that if you were doing something a little different than me, maybe you don't want the birds, but look at how cute it could still look kind of poking out from the top of a layout. I don't think it's quite right for this layout. You could even snip it and have it coming down from the top corner like that with maybe some banners. There's also this little tag piece. So again, I'm not going to use these, but I just wanted to show you some alternative uses for these little pieces that come in the kit. That would be cute, you know, on a different layout, but that kind of look is super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and get these glued down, and then we'll come back and do the finishing touches. I ended up doing the embellishing off screen, and I used these glossy dots. They almost look holographic. They're super shiny, and they were the perfect color yellow for this. So let me pull it closer so you can appreciate all the detail. We have all of that texture in the background from that tone on tone die cut background that I got the inspiration from that card. We've got inking on the flowers and the leaves, and then I also did some little veins with my little stylus to create little veins like Julie does. And then I also took this little tool to help shape the flowers, and that gives them that extra dimension, and they look so pretty. Now, I'm actually surprised at how quickly this embellishing came together. Granted, I did a lot of prep work for the flowers and cutting everything off camera, but once I had everything cut, it came together a lot faster than it normally does. Embellishing is my favorite part of a scrapbook layout, but I know it's a struggle for a lot of people, and I have 2 videos from this challenge that focus just on embellishing, and I'll link those down below because they're filled with tips. Speaking of challenge, I want to talk to you about that. So as I mentioned, this is day 13 of my challenge where I have done something creative every day and I have had so much fun. But all good things must come to an end, right? I decided that I just need to put my focus elsewhere right now. The 31 Days of Christmas Cards is right around the corner and I need to finish planning my classes and recording those. So make sure you register if you haven't already. There are going to be 31 Christmas card classes. That's one class every single day in October. It ends up being only $1.29 a class that comes with a complete handout and supply list and all that. Now, a lot of people wonder what the supply list is ahead of time, and the answer is we don't know yet. We haven't fully planned our classes, but between all 7 of us plus 2 guest designers, it's going to cover a wide array of products. So it's just not feasible to purchase everything that we use, but we do give you lots of alternative ideas in each class. So we'll show you the featured card and technique with products that we're using, but then we'll give you lots of other ideas of products that you can use that you may have in your stash already, or what to look for in products so that you can make something similar, but it might not be exactly what we did. Now, if you want to see the unboxing that I did and see all the Christmas supplies that I got, it's a lot. I'm not going to use all of them, but I did give a few hints at what I think will show up in 31 Days of Christmas Cards. So I'll link that unboxing video down in the description below. I will still continue to post to my channel, so don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. And I've really been enjoying this different style of videos that I've done for this challenge, so you'll probably continue to see those mixed in, and I'll go back to my 1 to 2, maybe even a little bit more videos per week. But don't worry, there's lots of crafty goodness for you to still watch. I have lots of videos on my channel. In fact, on the left is one that YouTube thinks that you'll enjoy, and over on the right, you'll find the playlist for the Creative Design Team collaborations. So I'll meet you over there.